Or gin and lemonade, I think that. Yeah. Maxine, I've just sent you a news story. I've just found by accident about a man that the police were dealing with as a murder inquiry, only to find out 5 years later that he's alive, living in...
Hello, hello, very warm welcome to the YouTube channel of Love Audio Production. My name is Paul Webber. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Do hope you're well, whatever you're up to today. Don't forget to say hi in the comments. We are monitoring the comments as we speak. Let's have a look here. First of all says, this is Rob, so let's send that to the stream and it should pop up on screen, he says. We were struggling with some technical issues a little earlier on, so hopefully this will clear it. Let's have a look. There you go. So, hey Paul, this is Rob. Thank you very much for joining the stream. And that was my reply. Hopefully that works as well. No, we still got Rob's on there. Dan's in the house. That's very good, Daniel. I am glad that you're in the house because we are doing your particular request today live on the stream. So we're going to be hopefully creating some jingles for a radio station from scratch. So you wanted to know how the process works. So from brief from the client, who is on a Zoom call, doesn't know it yet, but he's on a Zoom call and we're going to try and bring him in a second or two. It's not working the way I want it to work though. So we're just going to hopefully look at that in a second. Hang on. So that's that one. Send that. That works. That's fine. View all. All right. So it's only doing the ones to the queue. That's interesting. Let me do that. Add to queue. Add to queue. Add to the queue. And add to the queue. All right, so these should come up, hopefully, fingers crossed, wind in the right direction. Hi to Rich Vibes in the house, Peter Albanese in the house, hello to you, hello to Dan Woodward, and hello to Rob Thomas, and also hi to Sammy Cool, aka Studio Geek 32. Hope all is well with you guys. I'm very dry, I need a drink, to be fair. Now let's have a look. Let me see if I can do this.
Nice pleasant drink.
Down the line, hopefully, can you hear me, Simon? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? He can't hear me, can't see me either, which is interesting. So let me just mute Simon. We'll bring him in a minute. Simon is the client. We were going to bring him in on a Zoom call. That's not quite working the way I want it to work, but it's fine. We're going to press ahead and get the jingles lined up on the screen first, and we need to voice those, so that'll be interesting. So join me as we go through the process of workflow from the beginning. So from the script idea that was emailed to me from Simon, this is for a community radio station called Three Valleys Radio, and we've got the script here for you. There's various program identifications that we need to be doing, so we're going to have a look at those and we'll tackle those as we go along this evening, but we'll be back in 2 secs. Got to remember to unmute yourself. That's a golden rule, and I forgot to do it, which is interesting. Okay, so welcome along to the stream. My name is Paul Webber from Love Audio Production, and we are hopefully bringing a call in a little bit later on. It may not work, so we may just have to speak to Simon on the phone, in which case that's also fine. And we'll bring him in very shortly. So let's put that over there so it's not in the way. And we're going to open up. I'm going to go to the pip here for a second. You'll see this as my screen as it normally is. So we're going to open this up now for you. And this is opening up Studio One Professional version 5. That's the new one. We launched that last week, of course. And showed you a little bit about the production that I was doing for a certain project. It was for, I can tell you now because it's all over and done with, it was for a job interview. But sadly I didn't get the job, so so that was the end of that. But I was pipped at the post by somebody with slightly more experience, and they were very good to me. They said they had great feedback, by the way, on the audio that I produced last week. You know, that multi-track thing that we did with the sound effects and everything. So they said that it worked really well, and they could hear the kind of process behind it, and I talked them through all of that kind of thing. And they said I came across really well, so I was really pleased with the feedback on that, but just didn't get the job, which is a sad thing, but there we are. So if you wanted to hear the finished article, by the way, I can just open that for you. This is the Highland Spring commercial that I recorded for them. I did another one, if you remember. I did the one for a solicitors. Did you hear that one? Let me play that, because that was also a role that they'd advertised, which was for creative writer as part of the hub for this particular group of radio stations. And this was the script that I came up with. I wrote the script from scratch and came up with this for you. Life's been tough on us lately. Tough on work, tough on finances, tough on relationships. You could be considering some life-changing decisions. Before you make that move, though, come talk to us. We are Rutherford Clark, a leading family law firm, and something unique about us? We listen first. After all, we're blessed with having 2 ears and 1 mouth in that proportion for a reason. Simply book a no-obligation hour-long chat with us at rutherfordclarksolicitors.co.uk. Rutherford Clark. We listen first. Okay, so I hope the audio was coming through okay on that. If it was a bit loud, please do let me know in the comments, and I'll tune it down a bit. No other comments so far. Let's have a look at the queue. That's fine. Clear the queue because we've already got all of those, which is fine. And then we'll go back to the all. Excuse me, which is great. So that was the first one. The second one is the one that we did last week, so the multi-track commercial. Let me just get rid of that for a second and close that, and then we can bring in that other commercial, which is right at the beginning.
Highland Spring, pure filtered by nature.
Really, really proud of that, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It was designed to kind of give that image of the water dropping from the rain clouds through the trees into the ground, seeping into the ground into an underground stream, flowing really fast, and then coming back up through into a stream in the forest, and then finally being dropped into a bottle lid tightened up, female vocal at the end. What more can I say? So yeah, certainly hope you enjoyed that particular commercial. Okay, so what I'm going to do is attempt, I don't know if this will work or not. We're going to close that out because we've finished with that particular commercials. Let me just close that. And we're going to go with a brand new song from scratch. So it's an empty song, and we're going to call this Three Valleys Jingles. Go like that. Okay, so it's an open mixing thing here. So let's get the mixer up there. What we could do now is add the tracks. So track, we're going to add a couple of stereo tracks. So we're going to be mixing some stuff for you. And also we need the mono track, of course, for the microphone. Okay, so we've got the desk mic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there. And then these other tracks we can bring in stereo tracks as well. Okay, so I was going to try and bring in my guest. If you can hold 2 seconds, and we will try and bring him in on a call. This should be quite interesting. So let's have a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go there. And we'll do that. Do say hi, by the way. You're very quiet tonight. That was awesome, says Peter. Thank you very much. Your Scottish accent was better. No, it wasn't, Rich. It was far better with the female vocalist. I think you'll agree. But I do appreciate that. Okay. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. And if this works, it'll be a miracle, let me tell you. So it's ringing, which is really good. Hello, caller.
Hello.
You're live on my YouTube channel. Please don't swear.
It's fine, perfectly fine, Paul.
Simon, just introduce yourself. You're from Three Valleys Radio. Just tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the radio station, and what it means to you to be able to present on the station itself, and you also got involved with news as well, didn't you?
Yes. Well, originally, just prior to lockdown, the radio station needed a sort of co-commentator of football matches, and it went from that to no more footballs allowed.
Okay.
And we had nobody to read the news, and I got a phone call one morning saying, "Si, could you possibly read the news for us?" I've never done journalism in my life, and I've gone from that to every day I read the news, and it sounds like I've been doing it all my life now.
Wow.
After a little bit of practice, I got there, and the first couple were a bit iffy here and there, but generally, once I got used to sort of working editing software, I sort of flew through it really. I generally sort of scour the world for what's going on, some local stuff around Somerset, Dorset, and South Devon.
Sure, yeah.
And pick out the most interesting stories to try and fill 10 minutes. Hopefully, there's a little bit of sport in there as well, as we were primarily a sports radio station until lockdown, and then I decided to put it on myself to offer my services as doing an 80s show, as I was more of an 80s child, really.
Yeah.
And I do an 80s music show on a Saturday night from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. I pre-record it, so it's nice and easy. And my partner still laughs most days when I read the news out and I go, "Hi, this is Sci-Fi. I'm in the Three Valleys News Centre." I'm actually sat at my dining room table, but it's the way you come across, and if it sounds professional, you can pretty much get away with anything when it's on radio or audio.
Well, can I just say that you've got a great radio voice, so you've got this kind of really rich, deep, authoritative voice, so it actually fits the kind of news thing that you're doing, and like you were saying, because of the lockdown and everything else, people have had to pivot and have had to do lots of different things in order to make things work, and you seem to have grasped that with both hands, and you've kind of made it your own, really, which is cool.
I thoroughly enjoy it. The messages I get mainly on Facebook, but everyone's sort of free place to advertise themselves these days, and I get a lot of really good messages saying, "I really enjoy your show." The one I got on Saturday was, "I just listened to your show for the first time. You've just gained a new listener," and he's a fellow actor in Dad's Army that I'm in.
Well, okay. Let's step back a couple of yards, because I know for a fact that you tread the boards, don't you? Whenever we're possible, whenever it is possible, of course, to do so in theatre. So tell us a little bit about that and the Dad's Army connection.
Well, I initially was in a pantomime back rehearsing last year that was done at Christmas time, just gone, and there was a guy in it who was the director of that show plays the funny little old man, whose name has escaped me because we haven't had rehearsals for months. He said there's a part going in Dad's Army as the sort of weird old pervert town clerk. There was no sort of typecasting or anything, honestly. And I didn't have an audition. I just dived straight in because obviously the director of Dad's Army had come to see Panto anyway.
Yeah.
And suggested I came and did it. And then the colonel had to go off to university, so I now play the colonel as well as the town clerk in Dad's Army.
Wow.
And I love it. But there's something about comedy and getting a reaction. I think with more serious things, you don't really get the reaction until right at the end with the applause.
Yeah.
But now you get how do I put it? The accolades throughout the show.
Right.
If people laugh after you've just done something, straight away, what you've done is worked. If they don't laugh, then I'll blame the director.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was on a live video stream earlier on, and we're doing a challenge, a 31-day challenge going live every day in this particular group that an American company has set up. And one of the things on today's challenge was, what do people like about us? What do people don't like about us? And what are people's perceptions of you? And they are completely different to how you think about yourself, aren't they? Do you think?
I think so, yes. Because I'm not a pervert, for a start. I'm quite at home I'm probably a little bit of a different person. I think out I'm quite extrovert and make sure people know I'm around.
Yeah.
But at home I'm a lot quieter. But what I found quite strange, and if my partner could have heard what you said, that you thought I had an authoritative voice, she would definitely 100% disagree with you. The words authoritative and my voice going together are not two things I would normally say, but I do change my voice slightly for the news. I don't think I do it on purpose. It sort of just happened one day by accident, and I sort of stuck with it.
Do you think, though, Simon, that the minute you get behind a microphone, and Rich and a few others in the group today will probably testify this as well. And hello to Jack Cacti, by the way, watching. Hello to you, Jack. Thank you very much for joining. Also, hi to Rich as well, as I say. Sammy says, I'm back. I was watching Callie. That's fine, no problem. Thanks for joining us again, Sammy. But yeah, so you maybe agree with me or not, I don't know. But the minute you get behind a microphone, you do tend to kind of put on this persona, and that's
you click. And different. Yes, I totally agree with you. And
it's kind of an alter ego that it may be hidden, and maybe we don't admit to the fact that we've got one, but all of a sudden behind the microphone we're always, we're completely different now. Do you know what I mean? So I have to change for voiceover purposes, and we're going to be doing yours in a moment or two, and I'll talk through the script and stuff with you. But it is odd, isn't it? You get behind a microphone and you switch into this different mode, and it's completely different to how you would normally react at home or in the street. So
it's similar to acting really on stage.
I
mean, the Colonel is very authoritative when he meets the troops.
Do the Colonel's voice for us. Go on. You want to.
What on earth are you doing? Where are you taking those men? Mannering, what on earth are you doing? It's something along those lines.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at my script for so long.
No, but
the plan was we were going to have Zoom meetings, if you like.
Yeah.
But they sort of never happened, but I think we're not on stage now until March or April because of what's the word I'm looking for? Because of COVID.
Yeah.
I forget the word COVID.
I know people don't like you mentioning the word because they demonetize channels, but this is okay because the channel's not monetized, so you're okay. You can mention it. All right. And if I get to the stage where I am monetizing it, I'll edit it out. But listen, it's been great to have you on the show today. What I'm going to do is go through the script with you, the one that you sent through on email. Now, I'll read it through just as I'm reading it on the script, but I just wanted to check that you're okay with the wording and everything before we put it onto the live stream and we put it onto the mixing thing, and then we'll get that finished article across to you in the next couple of days. How does that sound?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Now, you've already got some jingles for your own show, which I won't play to everybody on the stream because they've probably already heard it, as I gave a few examples of that a few weeks back, which is the electronic Sonovox voice.
I used that during my 80s show on a Saturday night.
But I think the ones that you've written here will be nice as a standard voice, but with some effects on it and some backing tracks as well. So let me just go through the script with you, Simon, if I may, for the benefit of the people on the live stream. Okay, I'm going to swap over to the PIP as well, so people on the screen can see my software as well. Okay. I'm not going to record it just yet because I'll have to mute you if I do that, and I don't want to mute you because we're just talking through at the moment. So it says, you're listening to Hilda with all your favourite music from the 90s, noughties and today. And you've got a question mark after that sentence. Is that meant to be there or not?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Okay, let me take that out then. Okay. Let's have a look here. So, and then there's another one that says, you're listening to Three Valleys Community Radio. You're listening to Sci-Thia on Three Valleys Community Radio. I'm assuming that's two separate scripts.
Yeah,
is it? Yeah,
two different ones on their own.
Okay, that's great. Perfect. Take those out. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. Tell me about that.
Glover's Cast is a football radio podcast and radio show because it's after it's finished being broadcast, or when it's been broadcast, it then goes turns itself into a podcast. I don't know what I'm not. As you've known me for years, Paul, I'm not very technical at all.
Well,
but somehow they turn their radio show into a podcast, and it's about Glovers, which is Yeoviltown Football Club.
Right, I guessed it was the Glovers, yeah. Well, a podcast, very simply, it would be, if this was streaming live but without the pictures, that would be a podcast, and I'd be interviewing you. And in fact, that's a very good idea for my website, because I'm trying to do a podcast and do a regular what do you call it, vlog, or a blog even with a B. But I've only done one so far, and I'm procrastinating, and I shouldn't do, really. I should get people like you on, and we'd do a half an hour long chat and get it up there. So maybe that's the thing for the future. But that's I'm glad you cleared that up with the Glover's Cast thing. That's great.
I've also been doing live Q&A hour-long sessions, which is an hour is an awful long time, as you would know, Paul.
Yeah, it is.
For interviewing anyone. And I had to interview Yeoviltown's new chairman, Scott Priestnall, for a whole hour on Facebook. And it was so draining, but quite rewarding, because it's my own football club. I've grown up watching and supporting them. So then to be told, can you interview him? It was like, for an hour, really? But I love it. It's quite a buzz for when you get all the messages afterwards, as you know.
It is, yeah, you're right. Rich just came on the screen and said, projecting your radio self. And I think that's, that again comes back to the being behind the microphone thing, doesn't it? You actually project a different side of yourself that maybe you don't use in general day-to-day life sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right, so let's move on with the script. You've got Adie's Altered Ego show for the best of jazz, funk, soul, R&B and disco every Friday at 15:30. Is that correct? Is that the right time?
Yeah, 3:30. As I know, the problem is my news at lunchtime finishes at 12:30.
Yeah.
So we ended up, rather than being on the hour changing a show, we ended up. It's not my decision, and I don't make those. But that was somebody else's choice of.
So the programming team has said to you, look, we're going to finish or start this new program at 3:30 instead of 3 o'clock. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's absolutely fine. I just wanted to clarify the timing. That's all. So
wouldn't be my choice of time to start a show.
Hey, listen, it's fine, absolutely fine. And then you've got the retro show with A.D. Hopper for memories of the offshore stations and the best of the 60s and 70s classics.
Yeah, he was a big Radio Caroline fan.
Right. It's just, what I'm going to say is and please don't think I'm being critical at all, this is quite a long script.
I would reduce it down to how you feel it would be best. Because trying to squeeze all that in 10 seconds is...
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be 10 seconds because I can find some really good music to go with that 60s and 70s theme. That's perfect because I've got some great archive material for that kind of thing. So, you know, I think you'll enjoy the finished product, and we'll probably play those on next week's stream. And hopefully we'll be able to work out the video by then, so I can bring you in as a proper guest side by side instead of on the phone. And then you've got every Monday at 12:30, you're listening to A.D. Hopper on your local Three Valleys community radio station. So that's a separate liner, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then finally you're listening to, and there's a 2 missing, I think. So you're listening to Hilda's Hits on your local Three Valleys community radio station. Hilda's a bit of a star by the sound of it, isn't she?
Well, he's actually called Dave, but everyone calls him Hilda.
That's brilliant.
I'm not really totally sure as to why that is the case.
Well,
but,
you know, maybe just at the weekends, and you know, Dave at the week.
There's a Coronation Street connection.
Oh, Hilda Ogden, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Does he do an impression of her by any chance?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
I used to do Mavis, but that was another story.
Well, I don't really know, Rita.
I got it from Les Dennis.
Brilliant. Well, he was a great impersonator, wasn't he? Superb.
Yeah.
But listen, we've gone through the script. That's absolutely marvellous. What I'm going to do for the benefit of the live stream, and you're more than welcome to join us on that, by the way, and I'll mute you. You can stay, you know, on if you want to listen to that as well.
Yeah, it's on my laptop.
But if you want to view it, you can go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com, and then search.
I'm already on there.
Oh, perfect. Well, you'll see it anyway as it progresses. But I'm going to voice that real quick because I'm conscious that time's running out on us. It doesn't have to be, but A, I'm thirsty, and B, I need my dinner. So I normally do about 3/4 of an hour on a Monday night, which is cool. So we're going to voice these liners for you, okay?
Okay.
And then I can mix them down during tomorrow, and then I'll put them up on. I'll send them to you on email, of course, for approval, and then I'll put them on.
You know, I'll approve everything you do. I've used every single jingle you've ever sent me because they've always been brilliant.
Flattery will get you everywhere, and you know, it's absolutely fine. I appreciate the comments. Thank you very much. But we'll put that together for the benefit of the stream tonight, because what the whole idea of tonight's stream was, and Dan Woodward suggested it on last week's stream, or the week before, was suggesting that he would like to see my progression of the kind of workflow, if you will, and that's what I've titled tonight's stream is you know, what's your workflow? So my workflow is getting an email from you, printing off the script, chatting through the script with you, and we're doing it live. I appreciate that, so thank you for your time, Simon.
That's fine.
And then I go ahead and voice those liners, and then mix that with either effects or music. I'm going to do a bit of both, and you'll find that as I send them over to you. Then I'll get them over to you on email for approval, and then we'll play them on next week's Monday night stream at 8 o'clock. How's that?
That'd be great, and I might even be able to slip it in this Saturday night on my radio show.
Providing
next Saturday, actually.
Well, providing I get them to you on time, and don't forget some of these are for other presenters as well.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to use that as.
No, that's great. Well, listen,
I'd rather not be called Hilda.
But no, I don't blame you, because the reputation wouldn't go away, would it? Let's face it.
No.
So
That's what happened to him, unfortunately.
Well, that's the way it is, and long live Hilda is all I can say. All right. So if you want to stay on the stream, I'm going to mute you so that I can voice these. Okay.
And then I'll be able to listen while you're doing it.
Exactly right. So, Simon, great to talk to you. Thank you very much. We'll join you next week, yeah?
Okay, cheers, mate.
Thank you. Okay, so we've muted Simon, but I can still hear him for some reason. Let me just end that, because that's going to be very confusing, because we can still hear him. So let's get rid of that. Let's go back here, check the messages for a second. Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. View the queue. That's fine. We did have Rich say that sounds familiar to what I do music-wise. Tell me, do you get paid working for community radio? That's a question for Simon. He's now no longer on the stream, Rich, but I will ask him for you. Some presenters do get paid if there's a budget, but I understand that Simon's role is free, so he doesn't get involved in any payment for community radio station, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Sammy is back watching. Thank you very much indeed, Sammy. Hope you enjoyed Callie's. I love the way you call her Kale. That's hilarious. I know it's a typo, but it makes me laugh every time I see it because kale being a vegetable, it's incredibly funny for me. Just my weird sense of humour. Yeah, that's the way it is. So let's go ahead and voice these then. So we're going to arm the track for recording. Let me get rid of that. It keeps popping up. Let's go to the arm the track for recording. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me just 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Sorry, I had to shut the kitchen door because I could hear my partner singing for some strange reason. That was quite bizarre. All right, so now we are in front of the microphone. That's a bit better, isn't it? Just let me know if it's peaking or anything because I don't need that. Sometimes it does. It says, Simon himself is on. Brilliant. He says, I am here. I'm not paid until we get some decent revenue. That's fair enough. And then Rich very kindly says, thank you, Simon, which is cool. All right, so let's get these voiced for the client. So this is the next phase. So I'm going to start recording now. So this is Three Valleys Radio. And the first script. You're listening to Hilda with all your favourite music from the 90s, noughties and today. You're listening to Three Valleys Community Radio. You're listening to Cy Thayer on Three Valleys Community Radio. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. Glover's Cast, the podcast. Start again, popped there. Glover's Cast. Glover's Cast, the podcast dedicated to Yeovil Town Football Club. Glover's Cast, the podcast dedicated to Yeovil Town Football Club. Okay. AD's Altered Ego Show. AD's Altered Ego Show. AD's Altered Ego Show. For the best of jazz funk, soul, R&B and disco. Every Friday at 3:30. The Retro Show with AD Hopper. For memories of the offshore stations and the best of 60s and 70s classics. Every Monday at 12:30, you're listening to AD Hopper on your local Three Valleys radio station. Now, hang on, let me do that again. The Retro Show with AD Hopper for memories of the offshore stations and the best of 60s and 70s classics. Every Monday at 12:30. You're listening to AD Hopper on your local Three Valleys community radio station. You're listening to Hilda's Hits on You're listening to Hilda's Hits on your local Three Valleys community radio station. Again. You're listening to Hilda's Hits on your local Three Valleys community radio station. Okay. So, that's basically all of the videos, all of the narration done, if you will, which is cool. Let me just send that to the screen. So Rich says, yeah, me too, just unfortunate in these times. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So community radio stations will be coming to the fore more and more so now because of the deregulation in commercial radio. Very large groups of radio stations swallow up other stations, and then you end up with a big national station, national commercial station instead. So what community radio stations do is fill that void and give you the local aspect of what's going on in your area. So Rich, and also to Simon, you're doing a great job. Keep that up, okay? And hopefully I can help you with all the voiceovers and things as well. Dan as well, mustn't forget Dan, because Dan is very key to the community radio network as well, particularly coming out of South Wales currently. So Dan, thanks for the idea for tonight's stream. I hope you're enjoying it so far. So we've got the audio there. What I'm going to do now is bring my voice down slightly because I want to give prominence to the DAW now. So this is Three Valleys Radio and the first script. You're listening to Hilda. So what I'm going to do is very quickly I'm going to go through these. I don't need the mixer on, so I'm going to widen that and then give myself some space here. So you can see the waveform opening up there, which is cool. So this is just the intro here, I think, and the first script. There we go. So I get the razor, because back in the day, of course, we used to use tape, reel-to-reel tape, and if you wanted to edit the tape, you'd have to use a Chinagraph pencil to mark where you needed to edit, and then use a razor blade to cut the tape, literally, and then join it back together again once you found the bit that you wanted. Nowadays, thank goodness, we don't have to do that. DAWs have got this kind of editing tool where you just go like this, click, and then erase, and it's gone. Okay? Very simple. So I'm going to bring that back to the beginning. I'm going to open up the start and end flag as well so I know where I am when I come to edit it completely. Back to the beginning. You're listening to Hilda with all your favourite music from the 90s, noughties, and today. There we go. So that one's okay. Just going to chop the end of that off. Take out the breath, which is the bit in the middle. Listen. Hey. See? So you can always tell when the kind of breath is there as well. By the way, if you ever want to put a marker, if you're recording audio, by the way, and you want to put a marker in where you need to do an edit, just do this. And that stands out as a very high peak in the waveform. And it's a great way of identifying it visually when you come to editing. Let's get rid of that. Next one. You're listening to Three Valleys Community Radio. Nice and strong, and we'll obviously duplicate that and put some echo on it and all that kind of stuff as well, all that good stuff in tomorrow night's stream. Maybe going live Tuesday night as well. Hey, that's a bonus. We might finish this off tomorrow. Who knows? Or I might just do a recorded video and put it up for you, okay? You're listening to Three Valleys Community Radio. Okay, this next one. You're listening to Scythia on Three Valleys Community Radio. Let's edit that. Let's start from there. Oh. Big breath again, so let's cut that out because we don't need it. And then erase tool to get rid of it. Let's do this one. You're listening to the Glover's Cart. We peaked there, you see that? Glover's Cart. And you can hear the distortion as it peaked. This may be the same case here. Glover's Cast. Let's try again. Glover's Cast. Glover's Cast. The podcast. Yeah. So let's listen to this. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit that because it's peaking and I don't like it. We can do it again. So listen carefully. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's just put that on a separate track and I'm going to mute it for the time being. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. Glover's Cast, the podcast dedicated to Yeovil Town Football Club. Okay, that's much better. You see how it's not peaking now, which is cool. So let's reduce that, move that along slightly, bring that back down to our mix. Radio. You're listening to the Glover's Cast. I pulled back deliberately from the microphone because I didn't want it to pop and to peak. So I can bring the volume up to the same kind of level as the others just by extending that box there. You see that box in the middle of the waveform? That controls the volume of that wave. So I can bring it up to roughly there. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. Sounds slightly different as well, so by the time I get some processing on it, it won't make a great deal of difference, which is cool. And don't forget, there's no processing on it whatsoever so far. The only thing I've got is a gate on my main microphone and nothing else. Okay? Just in case you were wondering. That's the booth. That's the desk. Yeah, just the gate is all I've got on there. So we'll reduce that down again. Bring that along. That along as well, and click that. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. Sai says the finger click thing is a great idea. Yeah, it's just a way of showing that peak in the waveform so that you can see where you need to do that edit. Otherwise, I mean, I just do it visually, so I know that I'm speaking, it's quite loud, and when I take a breath, it's quite shallow. So that works for me, no problem at all. Simon says, probably a silly question. What's a gate? A gate is very simply something that lets something through. I'll give you an example. So the gate on here. Let me just do that. Excuse me. So the gate itself. I don't know if you can. If I demonstrated this a couple of weeks ago, but maybe you missed that, Simon. Let me just play the. I'm just going to turn on my. Let's have a look here. Oh. Okay, so you should be able to hear a fan in the background. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear that. Rich says, "Oh, guess what? Guess what comes in the post tomorrow? Your Behringer thing arrives tomorrow. Oh my God, you should do a video and do the unpacking and unveiling of it, and then the plugging in of it. I'd love to see that, Rich." Oh, brilliant! We can set that up for you, by the way. I can, you know, there's ways around it. So you can hear the fan in the background. Simon, what I'm going to do is change the threshold of the gate. Currently, the threshold is really low on this gate. So I'm going to turn it up and you'll see what happens to the background noise. Okay, here we go. Hear that? That's called a gate. So that's gating any background noise from the fan. If I turn it down again, listen. Noise. No noise. Hey, magic trick. The problem is that when I'm talking, you'll be able to hear bits and pieces of the fan in the background. So it's best not to have a fan on at all in your room when you're recording, okay? But I just wanted to demonstrate that for you. Just going to open up that gate again and turn the fan off. That's blowing out cold air, by the way, not hot, okay? Just so you know. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. Glover's Cast. Yeah, that's much better, isn't it? So there's no peaking on there now. But before, did you see how those waveforms were crushed at the top? They had like a line across the top. That's when it peaks, and you can tell because it's distorting in your headphones or on your speakers. All right? So let's just edit this last bit, and then we'll wrap things up. You're listening to the Glover's Cast on Three Valleys Radio. So I just want to do a quick edit there, and there as well. Do the erase tool to get rid of that. And then we'll Football Club. Glover's Cast, the podcast dedicated to Yeovil Town Football Club. I did pop slightly there, put a P with a P, but I should be able to disguise that with some audio because there's going to be some cheering, like a sports scenario, cheering going on there. So that should hopefully drown that out. Fingers crossed, and the wind in the right direction. Let's have a look here. Yeah, here's the fan. Brilliant. Okay. Vanishes the background noise. I need that to stop the dog grunting. What, during your show? Yeah, I'd imagine you would. That's quite frustrating, to be fair. Rich says, we'll talk to you tomorrow about it if you are about. Yeah, I'd love to be able to speak with you about that if I can. Yeah, I'd love to be there when you unveil it and do all that kind of thing. All right, so just give us a nudge in the morning when you're awake or when the postman arrives. Excellent stuff. Listen, I'm going to say cheerio now because I've exhausted my voice and I'm going to edit this and put some sound effects and things with it tomorrow. So Dan, thank you for the question and hope this was helpful for you. The next process, of course, is mixing this with music, sound effects, background, that kind of thing. Making sure it sounds great audibly, playing it back through other speakers other than your headphones so you get an idea of how it could sound on the radio as well. And then I send that to the client, and then the client goes, yep, that's cool, and then starts playing them. So that's my kind of overall workflow that I'm using in order to get these productions out the door. So I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks to everybody for joining. Tom says, joined late, hey dad. That's my son in Taunton, Somerset. So no problem at all, Tom. Working, so I'll catch up later. That's more important. So, yep, get that done. Thank you very much indeed, Tom, for joining lastminute.com, which is fine. And like I say, I'm going to finish off editing those and hopefully post them in next week's stream. We'll kind of do a part 2 and have things wrapped up as we send them to the client. Is that all right? So thanks once again for joining me. Very much appreciated, and well, hopefully see you on the next one. I mean, I learned it all. So I'm just going to find my my outro. We're final 2. That's correct. Okay. So without further ado, that's the countdown. I don't want that. Final MP4. Where's it gone? Pete, where are you when I need you? Have I deleted it? Please don't say I have. That's the countdown. That's not it. Here we go. I think I found it. Hang on. Right, yeah, I've got it. Yeah, so no problem at all. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Main camera, there you go. And hopefully join me on the next one, next week, next Monday. But I may put one up in between. So if I finish this editing off, I'll record it. I'll do it like a recording and then put it up as a separate video as part 2 or something like that for you, okay? Just before I go, if you want to check out my merch, there's a link on the banner, on the YouTube banner, where you can check out my merchandise site with the T-shirts. I was going to wear the Love Audio T-shirt tonight, but it's just been washed and I haven't ironed it yet. So I didn't want to, bring it onto the video without ironing it, which is fair enough, right? If you want to also support the channel in any way, go to my Patreon page. That's patreon.com/Love Audio Production. You can see various things on there and also support the channel in any way that you can, which is cool. So thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you on the next stream, which of course will be next Monday. But like I say, failing that, I'm going to upload another kind of part 2 to this particular video so that you can see the finished production as well, all right? Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll see you on the next one.